Alyssa Gilbert was the first time I met her. This was in the mountains in Sonora, here in Northern California. On the screen, they were the ideal married couple, the embodiment of love and virtue in Little House on the Prairie. But behind the camera, Karen Grassle had to face the coldness and absolute power of her most important co-star, Michael Landon. Within the production, Landon was practically a king. Michael Landon, the star, the writer, the producer, the director, the one who decided everything, from the script to who deserved respect. According to Karen, he would sometimes make crude remarks and mock her appearance, even while they were filming intimate scenes. "Lose a few pounds so the audience can believe you're my wife," he said, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. Worse, Landon even paid her the same salary as a child actor, simply because he believed women were not worth being paid more. But Karen remained silent. The 1970s were not a time when women could speak up, especially in Hollywood, where a single objection could bury an entire career. What was it like on the set of Little House on the Prairie? The actress who played Michael Landon's wife says it wasn't as wholesome as it seemed. Little House on the Prairie was the biggest thing on TV in the 1970s. So what exactly happened between them? Was Michael Landon truly as kind as the image adored by millions of viewers? Or was there a truth behind that gentle smile that no one dared to say out loud? Everything will be revealed in this video. In 1974, when American television was still flooded with scattered, predictable stories, a small show unexpectedly breathed into the screen a unique flavor of rural America, Little House on the Prairie. And it was in those endless meadows that Karen Grassle and Michael Landon found each other, not just as co-stars, but as two halves of the spirit of television's golden age. Karen transformed into Caroline Ingalls, the gentle mother as resilient as an oak tree in a snowstorm. Michael became Charles Ingalls, the devoted father whose calloused hands and steadfast heart were always lit with warmth whenever the family needed him. On screen, they made millions believe that these two people weren't acting. They were living a second life, one that audiences quietly walked alongside. From the earliest days, they shared a kind of chemistry that couldn't be rehearsed. The moment the camera switched on, their eyes would find each other, as if Caroline and Charles had always existed inside them. A scene where Charles repaired the roof under a pounding rain. An evening where Caroline bustled about preparing dinner for the children. The soft glances, the brief laughter, the gentle hand-holding. Everything felt so natural that viewers didn't just watch the Ingalls home. They stepped inside it. Behind the lens, they were more than colleagues. They were companions through scorching California heat and endless shooting schedules. Karen remembered that Michael was always the one who broke the tension with perfectly timed jokes. He made the whole crew burst into laughter, even when we had just cried ourselves dry for a scene, she recalled. The atmosphere around them was always warm, just like the wooden house they built together on screen. From that bond, Little House on the Prairie became a phenomenon. Every Sunday night, millions of American families gathered around their TV sets to cry with Pa Ingalls when the crops failed, to worry with Ma when the children fell sick, or to sit quietly while the family sang by the fire. Those tears, those moments that made people believe in family, carried the imprint of Karen and Michael, two hearts breathing life into every frame. And at the center of it all, Michael Landon was the soul of the show. Not only was he Charles Ingalls, he was also the creative brain, the writer, executive producer, director, and the person who set the rhythm for the entire Ingalls world. In the early seasons, he was the glue that held the cast and crew together, the one who shaped how stories were told, how emotions reach the audience, and how the light should fall on Caroline's face to capture the spirit of the Ingalls family. Karen Grassle once believed she was living inside a dream. The first season of Little House on the Prairie felt like a fairy tale, where the entire cast truly behaved like a family. At the center of everything was Michael Landon, the man with a sunlit smile, the gentle eyes of America's TV dad, and the kindness strong enough to melt away any exhausting day on set. He guided Karen through emotional beats, encouraged her through difficult scenes, and with just one raised eyebrow could make the entire set erupt with laughter. Karen genuinely believed she had found a colleague, a friend, even a soulmate in the art they were creating. But by the second season, the magic began to fade. Small fractures appeared like cracks in glass, quiet but impossible to hide. Landon laughed less, and the remarks that once felt light now carried a chill. The warmth was gone, replaced by tension-filled meetings where his voice cut through the air sharp as a blade. And Karen realized that behind that friendly face was a true king, someone who held absolute control over the entire show. As the series became wildly popular, Karen believed recognition would come. She had helped build the ideal family image adored by millions. During the first season, she was paid significantly less than her male co-stars. So when success finally exploded, she thought she deserved fair treatment. But when she asked for a raise, Landon looked at her with eyes cold as steel and delivered 4 words: "Request not appreciated." In that moment, Karen knew the little house they had built together was starting to collapse, and that she was no longer welcome in the very world she helped create. From then on, the atmosphere on set turned gray. With his power as producer, Landon began cutting her scenes. Caroline, once the emotional core of the Ingalls family, now appeared only in passing. Each day on set became a mental battle. Karen recalled mornings when she walked into the makeup room and heard Landon laughing with his team. But the moment she opened the door, the room went silent, as if someone had switched off every sound. One night, during a scene where Caroline comforted Charles after a failed harvest, Karen poured her heart into the performance. But Landon suddenly cut in, looked straight at her, and said, in front of the entire crew, "Give me real emotion, Karen. You're crying fake." The air froze. Karen felt her face burn, not because of the scene, but because she had been humiliated in front of everyone by the very man she once trusted. The shoot had to stop. Karen stepped outside and cried for real. But those tears were born of pain, not acting. In the next script meetings, Karen's voice was nearly gone. Whenever she attempted to give input, Landon would raise an eyebrow and smirk. "Caroline is gentle enough. Don't turn her into someone demanding." But the belittling didn't end with the script. Karen said that off-camera, Landon crossed lines with his jokes and comments. Once, right before an intimate scene between the Ingalls couple, he made a crude remark and smirked. "You want more than that. This is what more looks like." The whole crew burst into laughter. Only Karen felt her throat tighten. She no longer knew whether she was acting in a show or being tested in her dignity. As time passed, she saw yet another Michael Landon, a man who needed to be the center of the universe. He wrote scripts in ways that painted Charles Ingalls as the flawless hero, while other characters were slowly pushed to the margins. Many times, Karen caught him standing alone after a scene, cigarette glowing between his fingers, his eyes tense as if he wanted to control every inch of the set. She understood. Pressure was crushing him, but the transformation was too intense, too ruthless, and she was the one absorbing most of the damage. And it didn't stop at the scripts. Behind the scenes, Michael Landon's sense of humor began to darken. Jokes that once felt harmless became knives aimed at Karen's self-worth. She said he often made